Hey everyone, and welcome back to my channel. My name is Arissa, and today I'm super excited to be saying that I will be sitting down with Ishaan Shah, a fellow youth activist, for my series Mission Empower. Ishaan, do you want to give us a bit of an introduction about yourself to, give our viewers a little bit more of a, backstory to who you are and what you do?
Yeah, sure. Thank you so much for having me on your YouTube channel. It's a pleasure to be here. So I'm Ishaan. I'm 16 years old and I live in the UK. And I'm an anti-slavery advocate, a conservationist, feminist, and I advocate a lot about mental health as well. And I founded my own organization, Stolen Dreams UK, a few years back.
Amazing. So when did you have some sort of turning point or a spark moment when you really felt that sense of I have to do something, I need to start fighting for what I believe in?
Yeah, so from a very young age, we've always been brought up, and my sister and I have been brought up in a way where we have to be grateful for the things that we have. We live a very privileged life here in the UK. We have a roof over our heads. We go to school every day. We have 3 meals a day, which is fantastic. But actually, across the world, there are people who don't have access to that kind of things. And so in 2015, I went on my first trip to India, where I went to the slums, and I met the children there in the slums, and they were the happiest people I've ever met, despite having nothing. They were living in rooms where 7 to 13 of them were cramped into these conditions. They had not very much access to sanitary products, no fresh running water. There was one school in the heart of the slum. Even then, some of the kids couldn't go there because of their gender, it could have been, or because their family members didn't want them to go. And so really seeing that in person really opened my eyes, and it really made me passionate about serving to others in a selfless way. And that's where the direction of my life changed. And I knew that I would want to dedicate my life to serving others.
Wow, what a beautiful story. And I feel like personally, I can relate to you very much. And for all my returning viewers, you probably all know my story of how I went to India as well in the end of 2017, beginning of 2018. And just like Ishaan, I have a pretty wonderful life here in Canada, and I'm so fortunate to have such a great education. And yes, as he said, a roof over my head, healthcare, all of that. And so to really see how those children and just people in general in India live was a totally life-changing experience for me. And so I can relate to you, Ishaan, a lot. And so I understand how that must have felt. And I certainly
Yeah.
continue to remember my story. And every time, I feel that sense of, wow, maybe like I'm sad that I see people having much more than me. I always turn to that picture I have from, that those kids in India, and I say, what a beautiful life I have, and I have to be grateful. So I can definitely agree with you on that one. So I want to start off by asking you a question. So, what does activist or activism mean to you?
Yeah, that's a great question. And I think when answering that, I would take them as two separate words. And so activism and activist. And I think that we can all practice activism on a day-to-day basis. And that could be simple things like when it comes to my anti-trafficking work, if I tell someone that they exist and they pass that message on to their parents, for example, that's activism. Or if you post something on social media about how it could be anything about climate change, for example, that's activism. If you're having a conversation to your parents or debating with a friend, that's activism. And so I think activism is just really standing up and raising awareness and shining a light on things that are, social justice programs or social impact programs, and really promoting positive social change. And then I think an activist is someone who does that, but then also practices what they preach. So it's like if you're campaigning for climate change and you're talking about veganism, if you're actively telling people to become vegan, I think that's activism. But then if you yourself change your diet and become vegan yourself, and also are campaigning actively about veganism, I think that's when you become an activist. And so one of the things that I like to do and it was something that I made clear from the beginning when I started my anti-slavery work. And one of the areas in which people can help is buying ethically, but ethical clothing is quite expensive. And probably one or two items of clothing that I own are from ethically sourced products, sourced businesses. And so being an activist, I didn't want to force people to buy ethical clothing because I don't myself. And so I don't want to make people feel bad either, that they can't buy from companies that are slave free. And so one of the messages I give to people is that even though you can't buy ethical clothing because they're too expensive, and I fully understand that because I go through that as well, but always just cherish each item of clothing that you buy, because each item of clothing is not made by my machines, it's made by people. And there are boys, girls, men, women who are sitting there in factories for hours on end, sewing the clothes, picking the cotton to make the clothes, and really appreciating the fact that it's people who made the products we consume on a day-to-day basis. And so that's what activist is. An activist is someone who really practices what they preach, really stands up for social justice and positive social action and positive social change.
Mm-hmm. For sure. I couldn't agree with you more on that one. And I think, I identify as, I call myself an activist. And I think the main reason I do that is because, through even if it's something to do that's totally different from what I fight for, which is access to education, and climate justice, if I'm doing something totally different than that, I still remember that, I'm still acting with those issues in mind. And so I think that, being an activist, like you said, is just embodying what you are preaching and what you are telling the world and sharing with the world. Mm-hmm. So I definitely agree with you on that one. So you told us about how, you were inspired to start fighting for the issues you're passionate about and what activism means to you. So how did you start doing those things? How did you start speaking out and raising awareness about these issues?
Yeah, so towards the end of 2016, I watched a documentary about child trafficking, modern slavery and human trafficking, and it focused on the exploitation of children for labor and also for sex. And I watched this documentary, I'm sitting there, and I have a younger sister as well, and at the time I was 13, and I was seeing kids that are being exploited on a regular basis, and that really shocked me. And I never knew that slavery was something that still existed. I learned about the Atlantic slave trade and slavery in history, but I never knew that this was something that was happening today and something that was happening so close to home. Because I thought that slavery was an issue in faraway communities and faraway countries, in the developing world, so places like India, Bangladesh, and Nepal, where there's mass poverty. Mm-hmm. But actually, the International Labour Organization estimates that in the UK, which is where I live, there are over 136,000 slaves. And in London, which is the city I live in, slavery in the past 5 years has increased tenfold. And so that really baffled me. And so I went into school the following week, and I spoke to my friends about the documentary, and I asked all 156 kids in my year, do you know slavery still exists? And not one of them knew that this was still a problem today. And so then I went onto the internet and I did some research about modern slavery and human trafficking. And Google provided me with a lot of information, and it bombarded me with a lot of information that was very difficult to understand. It was very harrowing, it was very dark, and it was quite depressing as well. There was a lot of things about sexual exploitation, online predators, a lot of harrowing stories from survivors themselves. And as a 13-year-old, I was looking at this information thinking, how on earth can children engage with this content? How can we as kids, who are firstly at risk of being exploited, but also this is an issue that affects us because it's in the clothes we wear, it's in the foods we eat on a day-to-day basis. How can we engage with this content if there's nothing for us? And so that really inspired me to create Stolen Dreams as a way, as a starting point for kids to learn about the issue, to really engage with the issue, for them to digest the information in a way where we can fill this conversation, which is a very depressing and dark and harrowing conversation, with as much hope and compassion as possible. Mm-hmm. And since a very young age, I've been passionate about wildlife and marine life and conservation. And so that sort of fed into my work over the years. And so did the topic of gender equality. And now during this lockdown period, I've been focusing a lot on mental health as well.
Mm-hmm. For sure. And I know you just touched on all the other things you're doing, but I just want to go back to your Stolen Dreams website. I have personally gone on there and read all of the things that you have shared and, gone through all of the, resources that you have provided for teens and young children. And to be honest with you, as a young person myself, I could not, like, the way you portrayed all this information, and it's certainly not something easy to understand and to really take in, especially because there's also that factor of, wow, this is really happening, like, down the street from me. It could happen down the street from me. And I think the way you have really took all this information and put it into a way that we can understand is just incredible. So thank you for that. And I think that you have been
Thank you so much.
I think that, I always refer to this as something that I come back to, and I say that change makers are like the rocks that you throw in the ocean and you see the ripple effect. So I think that you have definitely done that and have inspired several people around the world, including myself. So thank you for that. And yes, I have heard some of I think it's your podcast, if I'm not mistaken. And so
Yes.
Hand Gel for Humanity. Do you want to tell us a
Yes.
little more about that and that sort of story?
Yeah, sure. So I've been wanting to release a podcast for the past couple of years, and I just haven't gotten the time to actually start one. Or maybe it was because I was too lazy, but I didn't realize how much hard work a podcast was until I started it. And it's tough to sit there. It's amazing to speak to people, but then that editing process you have to do, and then posting it all on social media and actually getting people to listen to it, that's really tough. And I really underestimated that side of it. But yeah, I was sitting here during lockdown. I had online schooling as well. I was finding myself with a little bit more free time than usual. Wasn't quite sure what to do with myself. And I thought, well, this is a great time to start a podcast. And initially, I wanted this to be all about human rights. But I think generally the global mood was a bit down, and people were a bit upset. Some people were feeling a bit lonely. And so I really wanted this to be a podcast that focused on mental health, but that also provided a platform for young people to get tips on what they can do during lockdown and to really be uplifted, keeping them company during this time for that half an hour, 45 minutes, however long the episode is. And so, yeah, I started Hand Gel for Humanity, and we were sitting there brainstorming names, and actually my sister came up with the name, and it just rung a bell, I guess, and I went with it, and I spoke to 7 guests, 7 episodes, and yeah, I've just had so much fun recording these episodes and talking to different people across the world. We've got people in America, people in the UK, and it's just incredible to meet all these people, to have that short conversation, and that's the best 30 minutes of my day, and I feel so happy afterwards, and I want other people to feel the same as well. And even if that affects one person, I know that I feel much too.
For sure. I absolutely think that mental health awareness, especially during this time, is so crucial and so important. And I certainly am using this time to really think about my well-being, my mental and physical well-being. And I think that your podcast, from what I've listened to a few episodes. It really does brighten my day and make me smile. So thank you for that. And I love the name as well.
Thank you.
I think it's so perfect, that name. Hand Gel for Humanity. I love it. Question for you would be that over your journey of being an activist, have you ever faced any challenges that were really hard to overcome, and how have you overcome and learned from these challenges?
Yeah, so I mean, there have been a lot of challenges along the way, and that's one of the things, not just with activism, but with anything in life, any project you start, you just link through life, you're always going to face challenges. And I think the first challenge that I faced was accepting that on my journey, there are going to be times where I encounter failure, where something doesn't work out, where something may work out, but I may have to shift something, or I may have to redo something, or change my perspective on a project. And that was the first challenge, because I think we as young people, we are afraid of failing, and we are afraid of the things people may say to us as a result of the projects we start. And we've got to understand that ultimately perfection is, perfection doesn't exist. And so we've got to let go of it. And so that was the initial challenge for me, really looking at myself and saying that I am enough as I am. And, as long as I try my best, and I don't want to put too much pressure on myself to do anything more than just try my best. I really want to just enjoy this journey, wherever it may take me. I think that was the first challenge I encountered. But there were a lot of challenges as well in terms of, I was 13 when I found out modern slavery and human trafficking, and having to really water down this information, all this really complicated stuff about business, supply chain development, sex slavery, how to sort of deliver the message of sexual exploitation to a kid who's 7 years old. And at the time I was only 30. Really having to water down that information was really challenging for me. Also coding the website I'd never done before, and I'm not an IT expert at all. So there were lots of challenges along the way, but I think we just got to learn to ride through the challenges and really not be scared of failing. To just remember that every failure is a chance for us to grow. And that's that really.
For sure. Yeah, and I guess that's perfect advice. And I mean, for me, specifically for my story, I personally had a hard time just starting to fight for what I believe in, because I was just scared. I didn't know whether it would be worth it. I didn't know if, my voice would be able to create change. But then I realized one day, and not too long ago, actually, that I am worth it, and the power that is inside of me and inside of all of us. So I think that change always starts by doing it and just going out into the world and sharing your passion and your dreams and your vision. So I definitely agree with you on that one. And having said that, you have accomplished several things. You're global award-winning speaker, I'm pretty sure. If not, please correct me. And you have done so many incredible things in your life. So what do you think has really helped you get to where you are today?
I think there are a number of factors that we get to say, and I definitely have a really strong support system around me, which I'm really grateful for. Whether that be, I still have to enjoy practicing my speech for hours and in my room, which I still has. Having supportive parents, having a very supportive family, which has given me a platform to really voice my opinions and speak to the kids about slavery. And that's right, so many workshops with kids. I go to my school first and I sit with the kids there first. So I think a really great support system around me. My teachers, mentors, all incredible. I think one of the things that has kept me going is that this is what I'm passionate about. And when you feel your passion, your life changes. I'm sure that you've had the same experience too. But it's like when one thing seeing mass poverty and, the slums, India on a news article or on Google or, when you're learning it in class. But another thing to actually visit these kids there, actually be there and spend time with them. It's a whole different experience. And so when I found out that modern slavery exists, in fact, children are affected by this, and as a child, I can relate to that a lot because, sometimes I wonder why is my life and why is that child stuck in some sort of expectation? Why is that his life? And so that's what really keeps me going. The fact that this is happening on my doorstep, but I can do something about it and really make a difference. Even if it's a small difference, because ultimately all these small changes that everyone around the world is doing equate to a much big change. And like you said, it's like a ripple effect. And so really what keeps me going is the fact that a lovely support system around me. My passion really, really drives me. And also the fact that I've seen firsthand, I've seen these kids, living in conditions that are unimaginable. And even though they have nothing, they are the happiest people I ever met. They are the most giving people I have ever met. And that's really what keeps me going.
For sure. And my story, I also experienced that as well. And when I went to India, like I went to a school and I donated school supplies, and I went and I spent time with these kids, and they were so happy and so positive and so grateful. And I went in there thinking that they would they would perhaps, be grabbing and stealing and taking from each other, but they were actually hesitant because they didn't need anything. They were just content with what they have. And that really taught me a lesson, because I feel like living in Canada, where I am today, and I'm sure even in the UK, there are so many people who are just not happy with what they have. And I think that the
Mhm.
whole experience of going to see these children really made me grateful for all the things that I have. So I can definitely agree with you on that one. So have you ever been in a situation where you have been told that by someone else or something else that you are not good enough, or that you don't have power? And what would you say to people who may experience this in the future?
Yeah, so I think when you start anything, when you go out of your way and you start a project or something unconventional, there are always going to be people who say that you're not good enough, or that what you're doing is rubbish. There's always going to be people who put you down, and I've had my fair share of experiences of people who are bringing me down. And I think that's one thing, and I think that actually people can deal with that. I think there's something even more dangerous, and that's when we doubt ourselves, and that's when we start to, look at ourselves and say, actually, the impact you're making is not going to be great. It's one thing when somebody else is to you with harmful as it is, but when you can cope tools deal with that. When you're doing it to yourself, that's even more dangerous. I think that's something that I did at the beginning, because modern slavery and human trafficking is a huge issue. It's a global issue. It's a very rigid issue. There are hundreds of factors that come into play when slavery: poverty, climate change, gender inequality, lack of education, lack of access to healthcare. There's so many factors, and I'm sitting here as a teenage boy in my home thinking, what difference am I going to make? I'm just creating a website. What is it going to do? And I wish I'd overcome that mentality a little sooner, because for the first few months, I was at doubt. I didn't know. I was just very much. So I wasn't doing very much. But actually, we've got to get rid of that mentality. I think it's again, it's that fear of failure, it's fear of thinking that you're not good enough. But actually, any change that promotes social positive change is amazing. Whether that be you're walking on the high street and you see a restaurant, for example, that's using plastic straws, running to them and getting them to reusable straws. I mean, that's a huge change. You may think it's small, actually, it's big for the community, right? Because not only will that you feel good about yourself for doing that, but they inspire other businesses to do the same in footsteps. Again, it's going back to, like you said, example of a ripple effect. One small action can actually lead to huge change. And I saw there were a lot of other change makers who are famous now, like Greta Thunberg. When she was going to protest in the Swedish Parliament, she must have thought to herself that really I'm holding a card line up that enough. Imagine if she then had done herself more and then not gone back, right? Imagine what we would be today. There wouldn't be this huge spotlight on the issue of climate change. And that young people are hesitant. And I would definitely say, do not doubt yourself. Do not even worry about how your project will turn out. If it fails, starting approach it in a different way. I've had to do that so many different times. But I would say that to young people who want to start unconventional, if you see something that needs to be changed, just go for it, because there is no time than now.
I love that. And I definitely agree with you. And perfect example with Greta Thunberg. She's definitely such an inspiration to all of youth. And I think, she did one simple thing. It's not even she didn't do that many things, but this one action that she kept working on, and she put her whole heart into it.
Yeah.
It has created one of the, greatest movements I have ever seen in my lifetime. And so I definitely agree with you on that one as well. So I want to go and talk a bit about slavery and child exploitation and child labor as well, because I feel like you're such an expert, and I feel like this is also an issue that not a lot of us know about, and it's not that talked about. And I think today in society, because we think it's something that happened in history, we aren't really talking about it anymore. So I really think that our viewers would benefit from hearing your knowledge on this. So, what do you think the root cause of this issue is?
Yeah, so the term modern slavery can be defined as the exploitation of people for labor, commercial sex, for various different things. It's aimed on minimum wage or nothing at all. It's making them live in really poor conditions and forcing them to do the work under coercion or psychological threat or abuse. It could be psychological abuse or it could be physical abuse in terms of violence. We're looking at that. But actually, modern slavery encompasses a number of highly exploitative practices. So there are different types. So you've got things like slave, which can include working on farms, in construction, in private houses as cleaners, in hotels as cleaners. So that's like domestic work. You've got things like sex trafficking, which is the commercial exploitation of people, and that can take the form of online abuse, sexual abuse, pornography, even in places like in India, you've got the red light districts where they have different sorts of sort of bars where there are prostitutes who are forced to do that sort of thing. You've got things like bonded labor, which is actually you get lured by the false promise of a better job. You get trafficked from India to Bangladesh. Traffickers says back, you have to pay for your travels. Now you're in debt to me. So if you work for 1 hour, I may pay you 1 cent. So there is debt to traffic for very time. Often that debt can run into into future generations. So you have generations to attract in slavery. On labor, then you've got things all trafficking, which is when people are killed on purpose to harvest organs, which is gruesome and absolutely horrifying to think about. Things like human trafficking, which is a movement of people across international borders, national borders, or even between homes, plus as human trafficking. You've got state-imposed forced labor, places like North Korea and even where workers are forced by government to work. So really, there's a number of different reasons slavery still happens today. In the fashion industry, you've got a lot of the fast fashion movement. So your high street brands, Zara, Primark, H&M, all fueling that fast movement because we can as a constant mundane new clothing, and they provide clothing at cheap rates, also quality, which means that we wear it for a couple of months to buy new, t-shirt, new jeans, new track bottoms. In terms of sexual exploitation, there's a high demand for pornography as well, stimulates the growth in using people's sex. And also in terms of just finding labor for anything really, because companies want to get the most profit out of things. And ultimately, you're a business. Businesses today, they care more about profit rather than the money they pay people. But also, I think it boils down to the darker side of the human personality and the human psychology, and all of that lust and greed, and the desire to have power over others. Ultimately it comes down to that.
For sure. And I guess that this topic, there's so many different factors to it, and I'm sure that even this question that I asked you was so hard to break down into the different parts, and there's so many different causes, and I feel like each person who suffers from this issue has a different story, so it's very hard to
Definitely.
pinpoint a certain cause. So I definitely I can see how hard that is. So in terms of how we can help as regular people, I think you touched on a few different things that we can do, such as shopping and buying things, not necessarily from companies that we know don't use slavery and stuff like that, but also making sure that what we do purchase will last us a long time. So are there any additional things that we can do just as regular people to help this issue?
Yeah, definitely. So as I probably mentioned a lot during this podcast, there's a lot of negative things about slavery. So there's a lot of harrowing information about 40.8 million people are trapped in slavery globally. like on our doorstep. A lot of shocking facts, and often it makes you a bit helpless. But up to let people know that they're hope, because we each can play our part in helping against slavery. And there's four ways that I like to get people involved in fighting against slavery. The first is educate yourself and spread the word. Education is fundamental when it comes to any issue. And I think education can not only make us aware of the issue and allow us to spread the word, but actually, if we know the signs how to spot us, for example, or if we know the signs of how to spot a pimp who's posing as a visitor online, right, that keeps us safe too. So education is really key. In terms of spreading the word, raising awareness is like a fundamental starting point of any, when it comes to any global issue. And so telling your friends, telling your families, being on social media, and that this is an issue that's currently quite a lot that we can do something about it is really crucial. And the second way is related to this online thing, saying things online, especially now more than ever. Loads of kids are in lockdown at home. We have online schooling, that's all online. All our communication friends are online. We have a lot of time on social media on that. So it's really safe and only talking to the people you know. Refraining yourself from sending other people nude photos or setting that sort of thing. Really being aware that social media, despite the fact that it can be used for social good, there are people online who are there and trying to exploit you. So that's the second tip: stay safe online. Then the third would be to write to local government representative. So in the UK, we have different boroughs, and there's an MP, so a member of parliament of each borough. And writing to your local government representative, wherever you live in the world, letting them know that there's an issue that's occurring potentially on your street, and making sure that they have, framework or strategy to educate people about the issue on a local level, train emergency services like police, the fire teams about this issue, but also making sure that have a really strong support network once you have these survivors of slavery. Because ultimately, when you are trafficked, you feel psychological abuse, a lot of psychological torment, and your mental health when you come out of being. Okay. Yeah, so really just listening to MP or local government representative, because when trafficking comes out and they're rescued, they go through a lot of mental health issues. I think anxiety, PTSD, post-traumatic stress disorder. They're afraid because they're trafficked from their homes, they're trafficked online. And really making sure that your local government has a support system to really provide them with a new job, a safe job, or an environment where they feel safe and where they can feel they can reintegrate back into society, and even just things like when they face to walk on the street again, making sure that your local government has that support system. And then my final tip I touched on before is consuming ethically, consume consciously. And I mentioned that I don't like guilt that they can't buy from companies are safe. And so one of the things that I really suggest is they cherish each including also. Go on to these companies use slavery, so H&M, Zara, Super, Sports Direct, Jade, or even Binder and Chanel, Burberry is quite good when it comes to transparency in the supply chains, quite great. And going on to these companies that use slavery, supply chains, going onto their Instagram, and it's something that I like to my free time, which is to comment on their post and write how much work is paid per piece, or things like what are you doing to tackle your supply chains, and what that does is put pressure on them. But you got hundreds of thousands of people who look at these people's posts. Actually, Nike, which is a company that uses slavery, they have 120 million followers on Instagram. America got thousands, if not millions, of people looking at a post, and that engages these other people in the conversation. That makes them aware that actually the high street brands which they're buying from on a day-to-day basis, on a week basis, actually might have stayed in their supplies.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, there's these huge companies that have so many followers, and I feel like, yeah, you're totally right. Like even a small comment that so many people can see will really, it'll put pressure, a lot of pressure on the company to be able to think about that and be able to respond to that. Because if they're not thinking about it and they have so many of their followers and even maybe even customers,
Yes. Yeah.
yeah, like this really exposes them. So, I'm going to go and do that.
Yeah, definitely.
um, so,
Even just something, sorry, even just supporting companies are taking steps to eradicate slavery. So it doesn't necessarily have to be supporting companies who are completely slave free, but supporting those who are actively trying to audit their supply chains and really go to the, provide these workers in their supply chain with substantial pay and good conditions. The companies, Apple is doing a good job on the Stay Award, I think 2 years ago. Adidas is doing really well in ending slavery. The 2017 stock cereal. Marks and Tesco's. A lot of companies who are actually trying to do something about it.
mhm. Yeah, for sure. And I think that one of the things that kind of makes me upset though is I feel like these bigger companies are sort of in the public eye, and some of these smaller companies are not, and we're just not aware of all of these. So, what would you say to companies who are being socially conscious? How can they like spread more awareness about their what they're trying to do? Because I mean, personally, I don't know several companies. I only know one who are, they're environmentally friendly, so everything is made from recycled material, but I don't really know any other ones. So what would you say to companies and also to consumers?
Yeah, so I think we've got like the climate change movement and the gender equality movement. They really come to light on social media and media. I think that's absolutely amazing, and a lot of new sustainable when it comes to climate change companies, eco companies that have erupted as a result of this movement. But the anti-slavery movement, in terms of human rights and workers' rights, issue hasn't really come to life on social media. There's no like huge campaign, or there's no protests on the streets, large scale protests on the street about how kids in factories in Bangladesh who are working 60 hours a week in factories. And so I think consumers need to understand that actually slavery is happening everywhere. I'm in the room sitting in now listening to this. There are at least 5 or 6 products that are by slavery, whether that's the chair you're sitting on, the phone or screen looking at this stuff. And I think really putting pressure on companies, not necessarily to because slavery again is a very big issue. Some of the people who are working in slavery, that's their source of income, right? And so if then companies start firing these suppliers, you're going to keep people jobless. Ultimately, they will provide an income for themselves, for their families, and they in worst case die or turn to other forms of crime. So I think businesses, um, businesses who are slave free need to start going to these large corporations and helping them audit their supply chain and go through each step. And even if it's something like rebalancing their profits, is spending less money on advertising, and provide and get that money to the workers and the supply chains. And just really taking the supply chain thoroughly, and also being as transparent as possible about it. And it's one thing being transparent, saying to the consumer you're doing something to, or the consumer if there is slavery in the supply chain, but it's another thing to then actually act on it. And I think that's when we need more action and more change.
Hmm. For sure. And I guess that there's a lot on social media. Like we keep going back to social media and different online
Mm-hmm.
tools. And I think that especially in the time that we're living in right now, social media, although it can be scary, like we've talked about, and there's different problems, it's also been a tool. And for me, I'll tell you, like for the longest time, I said to my friends who told me, Arissa, social media is such a great tool. You should think about, using Instagram to spread your vision for the world. And I'm like, I don't really, I was scared, to be honest with you. I didn't know I was just scared to put myself out there. But from what I've learned from my personal experience from using YouTube and also Instagram pretty actively, I'm able to reach so many people from all over the world. And so I think that in terms of, you know, buying consciously, I feel like social media is also a great tool. So if you're a consumer, you know, do your research, like Ishaan said, do your research. And also for companies, I feel like working together and building partnerships is also a really big one as well.
Yes.
And you know, partnering with anti-slavery movements and different climate change things are also very important. So yeah, just to add, I wanted to add that. So Ishaan, I'm wondering, have you ever had the experience to sit down with someone or chat with someone who has actually gone through uh, being, you know, slavery or child labor? Have you ever had the chance to do that? And if so, what was it like?
Yeah, I've spoken to a few survivors of day of women trafficking. I've read countless number of accounts and lots of different stories of people dying. Never actually spoken to somebody who's survived a innocent child now. And I really like to, but I've read a lot of stories online. It, it's a bit surreal, really, and it's a bit hard to use these things, and it's really hard to believe because their stories are, even now, I don't have very many words because they're just disgraceful. The way they've been treated, the way they've been treated, and the way they, had to live in such awful conditions. One story was of child slavery was being palm oil in foreign Indonesia. And just he was saying if he didn't pin off, he would get beaten until his back would bleed. And I've actually, I'm in here right now in my A-levels, I'm studying Atlantic slavery and slavery in America. And there was a man called Frederick Douglass who wrote, he was slaves back in the 1800s, and he wrote a book, a very detailed account of like to be a slave. I was a section that which he was watching now and they and ashed and the blood oozing out back. And then I read that book and I'm reading the story and I'm thinking it's really something. Firstly, what happened there, I feel like then why is it happening now? It's being kidnapped, kids being bought by people with boyfriend, girlfriends on people having a figures, like people who tend to be model legends, and they're all into like expectations. They are constantly threatened that each try and someone who's trying to please them, I find out to tell them. It's just, I have no words because this shouldn't be happening. Why is it happening today? How can a human being possibly do this to another human being? It really baffles me. So, it's one thing learning about something and knowing the something, but when you're actually listening to people or reading in people's accounts of how awful, interesting, how free how they're dehumanized to an object, it just is shocking.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And I'm sure, like I've read a few books about it before, but the ones I have, it's so hard to read those books and to hear those stories. And I can just imagine what you have read too. I'm sure you've done tons of research on this. So I mean, as a young person, to believe that other young people, and even just people in general, are treated this way, I just don't understand it, and I know that it's you know, it's necessary that we do learn about it, but it's hard at sometimes, and it's hard to believe it. So, but I do think that education, again, back to education, I feel like when we educate ourselves about it, like you said, we're able to educate others and really protect ourselves and the people around us. So I definitely agree with you on that one too. So you have spread a lot of awareness about this issue. You have spoken to children, schools, and different organizations. What is the next step that you would like to take to work to alleviate this problem?
Yeah, so I think right now I'm focusing on the small scale change. And before this pandemic, I had a lot of different talks at schools lined up, and because of this pandemic, they all cancelled. This pandemic has really changed things. It's really the spotlight on global items, because a lot of goods are affected China, and the virus is being out there, and a lot of supply chains stopped, and a lot of suppliers stopped supplying goods there. But also the fact that in places like Bangladesh, factories creating these shirts and clothing in the high street brands that you buy in the UK or Canada or the US. All of this governments are neglecting these workers. Even in the UK, had migrant workers who potentially could have tracked Eastern Europe, other countries in Europe, from Vietnam, in Bangladesh, China, straight into the UK. But the government is supporting them because technically they're illegal migrants. So panic is uncovering a huge problem, which is government not supporting workers direct or forced slavery. And Free Nation, which is an incredible international human rights organization that has actually published really document protecting workers during the pandemic. And it's amazing because it's basically a tool that the government use on how they protect us. So right now, what I'm working on is I've been contacting a lot of MPs, so representatives across London, on creating a really, really robust force for people at risk of being evicted. And the UK government estimates that during this period, there are over 100,000 on users active, focusing on pregnant children for sex or for sex registration. And so we at the moment it's shift from awareness to awareness, but so trying to action young parents, action ministers. So right now my journey is sort of I wouldn't say changing, but like a drain. It's raising awareness and it's to get back.
Mm-hmm, for sure. And I feel like just like you talked about, a lot of it is about spreading awareness, but then there comes a time when action needs to be taken. And I feel like our governments are a big starting point for that. And I know that you have, spoken to your MPs and their government in the UK. And I think that for me, I'm definitely going to do that as well now, hearing your story and how it can make an impact. So I encourage everyone to do that as well. Who's watching this? Everyone, I'll put the link to Ishaan's website. You can get more information there. But I really do think that it takes everyone to make a difference, and each small step. And again, you said it right. When you add them up, it creates a huge impact. So I urge everyone to do that. So my next question for you is, do you think that there is a big divide between slavery today and slavery back then, back 100 years ago?
Yeah, so I mean, now you really see people throwing around it is slavery. Actually, I don't really use a like modern thing because there's nothing really modern about slavery. Slavery, still as it was, for the past centuries, the Egyptians using slavery, right? We had that trade, where the white people were forcing other people to a life of slavery. So nothing changed. So the demonizing of a person, so treating object and forcing to do that. keep it in poor condition, not paying them very much, if any sort. So expecting, but the difference between slavery now and the 1800s, well, the 1800s was population decreases in colour, whereas today, one is slavery. Regardless of your age, gender, ethnicity, or we all being exploited, and that's a fundamental difference. But also, like, slavery is also subject forms of violence, exposing, people to, you've got factories that are still as well, people sexual exploitation. There's a whole online right technology where you think pornography and the online abuse, like, what's making that change is the fact that as well we all do we
Sorry, I didn't catch all of that, but I caught a little bit of it. You were cutting a little bit in and out there, but it's okay. I could understand most of what you're saying. And to add to your point, I do think that now that we're in the technology age, there's a lot more things that have come out of abuse, and with technology as a new platform. It's hard to say that, but a lot of people do use it for the wrong things. So I think that as you said, like slavery, it hasn't changed at the root meaning, but it has evolved in how it is, I don't know what the word is, but how it is happening in the world today. So I definitely agree with you on that one. Am I cutting in and out as well, or is it just me?
No, it's perfect.
Okay, it's really odd. I can hear you, but it's like glitchy a little. It's okay though. I'm pretty sure we can understand, so it's fine. So my next questions for you have to do with the United Nations. So I'm sure that you're probably aware that this year marks the 75th anniversary of the United Nations. And what they've done this year is they've launched a kind of like it's like a 1-minute survey. And it really is it was created for every single person, and they're targeting every person, no matter the gender, your age, just everyone. And they're asking what we would like to see for 2030, what we need to do, and also what the governments and world leaders need to do. So my question for you is, what is one thing you would like to see happen by 2030, and what do we need to do about it, and what do world leaders need to do about it?
Yeah, so 2050 is a big year because in terms of sustainability and change to make the world, it's a tragedy year because United Nations States of 2050 launched the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals for 2030. 7 goals to the main purpose, a wide range of issues, including tackling poverty, tackling hunger, tracking, modern slavery, climate change, marine conservation, and different topics. So I'm actually an ambassador for sustainable development and economic growth, and because I work for gold points, which in all of human child labor and by 2030. So the term change making world and social action 2030 is a huge year, and by 2030, I would love to see I would love to see the world free from slavery, and that all forms of trafficking and slavery and child labor, forced marriage, all these things are eradicated. But that would mean that as a current state, there are 40.8 people globally. The trigger multipliers and hidden from crime. So going by that statistic, 48 million, which is the minimum number of slaves, it's just an estimate. That would mean that every day, 130 would have to be about between 10 and 50,000 slaves. And that's doesn't sound possible. So in a direct response to your question, by 2030, I would like to see a world that is with the risk of monitoring human trafficking significant, but also a world where government response is very robust, very strong, and very orientated so that they support that they need. But all that holds businesses to account that actually delivers on action than anything.
Mm-hmm. For sure. And I guess that question is also kind of complicated because I feel like as young people and as activists, at least for me, there's so many different things that I'd like to see happen by 2030 in terms of exactly what you said, with slavery and human trafficking. That's definitely one of the main ones, but also, like climate change and access to education. There's so many different issues. And I feel like it's kind of hard almost to pinpoint what exactly we want to happen, but I think your answer was really great. So thank you for that. So I have a few last questions just to close. So I'm going to take it back to your organization, Stolen Dreams. So do you have one specific goal for this organization?
That's a great question. I think I really started the goal to raise young people. I feel I have met the goal. Very able to now where she doesn't like which I'm absolutely thrilled about. And one ultimate goal would obviously be to work with their industry where reach gender equality where climate isn't an issue anymore, and where kids' mental health are pieces of our lives. That the outcome would be a huge thing, but I think there are small goals to get yourself in the way. And one of the is very good goals. I think some people do goals that you all are big. And that's really difficult for me to take goals. Every month, you write down a goals that I achieve. So make goals, goals, you write to MPs about the issue, almost a from them, which probably about 150 MPs. So far, I've received 3 responses. 3 MPs willing to actually frame. And my goal is to get one of these. So I have goals, but all goals are very short at the very small time in the month.
Mm-hmm. For sure. And I love I love exactly what you said. How there's like so many different things, even in one issue that we want to accomplish. And I think that you've already done such a great job with spreading awareness about this issue. So it really is inspirational, and I know I'm inspired, and definitely I'm sure that everyone watching this on YouTube is definitely inspired as well. So thank you for sharing your story with us. And just one other question, just to sort of close, not my last question, but one of the last. Is there a specific meaning behind the name of your organization, Stolen Dreams?
Yeah, so the name of the website was that I brought on it for a while because I had no idea what to call it. No idea what name to use. I'm a 13 and website names are doing this whole really on at the time about these things, algorithms and these pieces that I picked up as that for a while name, and one of those things came up a website and was one last thing I did. But yes, so climate change, ridiculous, and anti-food things very passionate about at the time. And they become mental health items. But climate change, where it don't take action now, will be future. And so kids have dreams, being a politician, or being artists or being change makers, you know, and if we don't take action seriously, we will have no and we're just same type of recording, but you know, back on there are tons of videos of girls which is not education today, right? And not kids how can get of that person. And then when it comes to the movement, people are being by the force to life. It's a law and no one they're boarding traffickers. They are forced to prostitute and then and so I think that really time that really I can relate to and I like that man with me as well as quite cheap. So yeah, that's Storms was born.
Wow, it's so incredible. Even I mean I know your story, but even just to hear it again, it's just amazing, and I'm so glad that we could chat today. And you know, to add to that, I really do think that all these issues that you're trying to combat, really, your name sort of summarizes it all. And I think that because of these issues that people are facing, their dreams are stolen because, as you have said before, you know, when you're young, you have so many ambitions and so many dreams and so many things that you would like to do in your life. But when things like this happen, that's when your dreams are stolen. So I absolutely think that I cannot think of a more fitting name than Stolen Dreams. So thank you for sharing your story and your time with me. It's been really incredible just to sit down with someone who I can actually relate to, and who is definitely a role model for me. It's been incredible, and today I will certainly remember and certainly use in my life. So I cannot thank you enough for all your time, your advice, and for sharing your knowledge with us. It has truly, truly, truly been an honor to be able to speak with you. And for everyone watching this on YouTube, I will tell you that Ishaan and I did this exact same interview on Instagram, but unfortunately, because of technical difficulties, it didn't work, and I wasn't able to save it. But just as Ishaan is so kind, and he said he would do it again. So you're so inspiring. Thank you so much. And yeah,
Thank you so much.
So much. And I will definitely, I'm gonna put all of Ishaan's links to his Instagram and to his website so that you guys can go check it out. And Ishaan, I hope you have an amazing day, and stay safe during quarantine, and thank you so much. And I wish you all the best in everything that you do. And I would definitely love to connect again and maybe even work on something in the future. So let's stay in touch. And yeah.
Definitely. Thank you.
Thank you. And for everyone watching this video, be sure to subscribe and like below for more interviews, and definitely go check all of Ishaan's work out. He is definitely an incredible person. So yeah, thank you so much, Ishaan, and we'll chat soon.
Thank you.
Okay, bye.